Okay, hello, welcome back to the studio. Today I'm going to paint for you a betta fish. We all have betta fish or have had them at some point in our lives, and they're great fish to have around. Pretty hardy. We'll keep them in small containers. I don't know, they're great fish. They're fun to watch. They puff up when they get mad. Really pretty cool. So let's just jump into it. I'm going to put on some base color. You can see my betta fish is blue, so I'm using just a mix of turquoise blue, ultramarine blue, and cerulean blue. I'm just going to put that on, get around his jawline there. That's where you see the big gills that come out when he gets angry and sees a friend of his. Bettas have these wonderful, giant, long tails. And I'm painting here as I guess would be your standard betta, not one of the fancy crown bettas, or I don't even know what other kinds they have. They have so many fancy new names these days. I'm just going to lay in some color. I'm going to try and vary this a little bit between the three different blues. And you may see a little bit of that variation in there. We're definitely going to come back and add a little bit more variation as we go through this painting, but you should be able to start to see a little bit. And I'm just keeping this very wet. And like I said, I'm laying in some base color. Now, there we go. Got these wonderful long fins. Now he does have a little fin on the side, a pectoralis fin, I believe. I don't know. It's much lighter, much whiter, almost a clear color, so I'm going to go very lightly on the color of that. In fact, I'm going to let the paint around it dry just a bit, and then I'll go back and put a little color on. But first, let's get the dorsal fin on here. And here we go, just using the side of the brush, just very nicely laying that brush down so you can use the tip to make a nice fine line. There we go, filling in the pectoral fin, nice and light, almost a see-through. Now the fish I'm painting, if you noticed it in the picture when I showed it, has a red fin up here. I'm just going to drop in a little red color. Here we go. Just like that. It's going to bleed a little bit into the blue. We're not going to worry about it too much quite yet. All our colors are mixing a little bit. And here's where I'm going to start with. Let me dry it off real quick. And there we go. All right, I'm going to come back with a slightly smaller brush now, and I'm going to start defining a few shapes. Start defining the fins, start defining the body, start defining the jaw and the gill line on it. But first, I think maybe he needs an eye. Probably a good thing to put on him. There we go, and I don't want to fill it all the way in. I want to leave a little white spot for some highlight on there. That'll give him a lot of life when you see him. All right, and here we go. I've loaded up some blue. This is turquoise blue. I'm putting around his jawline, around his gill line there. And I'm going to drop in some color. And I'm going to blend it out a little bit, hoping to give a little bit of roundness to his head. I'm just going around his eye. If you've seen me paint before, you know I leave a little bit of white space right around the eye. It helps it stand out a little bit. I'm just loading up some more paint. Let's see, I'm gonna draw some of the beautiful veining on his dorsal fin. It goes all the way back to the end, all the way to the tip. And I don't want too much. I just want to give the indication of some veins, some pleats on there, whatever you want to call it. There we go. And it's a little darker here, so I'm just going to put in a little bit of that blue and blend it back. There we go. I might have to come and touch that up again one more time, but for now it's fine. And I've got a liner brush in my hand. I want to make some nice, long, very nice pleated lines inside his tail. There we go, right down to the end. The liner brush helps you make some very nice, long, straight lines. It holds a lot of paint. And you can use it to paint any kind of line you want, really. There we go. I don't want to show necessarily the start of these veins, so I'm just going to blend them in a little bit, just a couple of hairs of that paintbrush on there, and pull it back towards his body. It'll help blend those around. And he's got this fin. Put some nice veining on there. Beautiful. All right, and I'm going to blend these just the same. There we go. Just right where his body would be, where his fins come in. I just want to blend that into his body a little bit. And I'm going to put a little darkening on his red fin there. It gets quite dark at the edges, so I'm going to actually put a little bit of blue on top of that. Might show it a little purple, but that's fine. I'm not going to let that bother me at all. And now I need to give his body a little bit of texture, a little bit of shaping. So here we go around his fin, and I put the color and blend it back. It's going to make that fin stand out a little bit. There it goes. And as I blend that out, it's going to make it look a little rounder. Just going to add a little bit of color and definition to get that fin exactly the way I want it. Blending the edge right there. Okay, right down along his belly right there. I know it's quite a bit darker underneath there. Maybe he's a little bit of a portly fish, I don't know. But I want to paint the underside of him where there's no light shining on him. And just make sure I blend that with his fins. So I'm going to pull that down. There we go, and just barely touch it on the way back up. A quick blow dry to make sure we've got it just the way we want it. And I need to go back in and put a little on his fin. I'm mixing a little color. I'm mixing a lot of color. Actually, I'm deciding what I should put around the outside of this fish. What would be good? So I've got a yellowy orange color. Blue and orange are opposite colors on the color wheel. So if I put an orangey color on as a background for this fish, it should make him come alive a little bit more. There we go. Just getting it nice and tight, nice and close. to his fins. And each time I go back to my palette, I'm going to change that color of orange just ever so slightly. Sometimes it might be a little yellower, sometimes it might be a little more ochre, sometimes it might be a little oranger, sometimes it might be even a little bit red. But whatever we do, we just want to change it ever so slightly. Each time we go back there, it's going to help us add a little bit of interest and a little bit of life to the background of this painting. And I'm just letting it blend out. I'm not worried about doing a specific border around this fish. He's just floating in some water out there in somebody's fish tank. And I'm just going to let him float there. I've switched to quite a small brush so I can get in between his fins with a little bit of yellow, a little bit of orange. I'm going to dab on just a touch of water. So you can see I want to get a little bit of back runs, a little bit of cauliflowering in there. Okay, I'm just going to see how that sets up for 1 second, and it's not exactly what I wanted, but it's fine. I'm going to blow dry it off, and I think I'm going to do something a little crazy here. I'm going to mix a little bit of extra color, and I'm going to splatter it all over this fish. Should help to add a lot of life to the painting. Here we go. Some of my blue color. Just throw it on there, and mix a little of my yellow color that I've got left over on my palette. Mix it on there, and I don't want to get too much on the fish himself, but just enough to add some interest. There it goes. Let me dry it off. And we're done. There's our dried up fish. I'm going to sign this and call it good. Thank you for watching. I hope you liked the video. Please like it in the bottom corner and subscribe to my channel. I would love to see you back here with me painting in the studio another time. And again, thank you for watching.